So we look at section 1.1, estimating with whole numbers. Our first vocabulary word is estimate. Does anyone think they know what an estimate? What would be a good definition?
An educated guess.
Okay, good. Educated guess.
A guess that's close to the number but not quite right.
Something that's close.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were right on the number, you would say you are exactly there, right? If you're estimating, you're going to be close to. It's an educated guess. So the definition we're going to use for this is for estimate. It is close to the number. And you all know that that symbol there means number, correct? Close to the number, but not exact. And then in parentheses here, I'm going to write usually faster. It's usually faster. That looks like a C, doesn't it?
Oh, that's
There, now it looks a little more like a parenthesis. Usually faster. Faster. Compatible numbers. Compatible numbers. Well, the number piece is easy with that one, right? We all know what a number is, I hope.
Yes.
Compatible. What do you think compatible means?
Putting numbers.
Okay, Happy said maybe putting numbers together. What do you think?
It works.
They work. Okay. Compatible numbers are numbers that work well together. And they make it easier. Because a lot of times we like to estimate. When we estimate, we use our brains. And when we estimate, we use compatible numbers because they're easier to do mentally. So compatible numbers are going to help make it easier. Okay, the next two words are similar to each other. We have underestimate and overestimate. Underestimate. What do you think?
Below the number.
Okay. It is an estimate that is below the exact number. So if you underestimate, your number is going to come in below. If you overestimate, what do you think that one's going to be then?
Over the estimate.
Yeah. It's an estimate that is above the exact number. All right, a little practice estimating. This one I know you could give me the exact numbers, right? But sometimes it's good when you're having a party to maybe have, what do you think? Would you want to overestimate or underestimate if you're going to have a party?
Over.
Probably overestimate, because what if, it says I'm having a party for 12 people, what if somebody extra shows up, right? I'd rather have too much than not enough. So, how many plates do you think we should have at our party if we have 12 people there? What do you think, Happiness?
24.
24 plates? So 24, that would be like 2 per person, right?
Yeah.
Okay, anybody else have another?
You get food and dessert.
15 maybe?
Like how you have one pizza.
Okay. So this would be our plates.
I would think
24 or 15. Now notice what happened. We got 2 different numbers, right? When we estimate, It's not an exact number. If you can defend your answer in some way, your estimate could be, good. Now, happiness, yes.
Do we have plates from 24?
Yeah, sorry, I wrote plates there, just so we know. That's what I was thinking of.
What's the 15?
The 15 would be plates. Either or, right? Those were both answers we got. We could get 15 plates or we could get 24 plates.
I would say 24, just in case.
Because each person might
Yeah, because some.
Yeah. Yeah, food and then dessert.
Dessert and food. I like how I'm going.
So what I'm hearing now is you guys are defending your answers, right? I'm hearing if we had 24, each person could get food and dessert. Okay?
But if we had
Or if we had
15,
15, you'd have a few extra plates for
Or
if
if
somebody else came or if somebody dropped their plate or a plate got dirty, who knows what, right? Okay, let's look at the next thing. Napkins. Napkins. What do you think we should do for napkins at our party?
48.
65.
Napkins, I heard 48. 65. What? Why 65 instead of 48?
Because usually.
Because children could come. Children could come in the message.
All right.
Like what if someone spills something?
So what I'm hearing is we want more napkins than plates because
Yes.
you guys know you're messy people. So if you came to my party, we'd want to be clean. So, all right.
Food.
So we'll clump food and drinks together here. When we think of food and drinks,
Drinks probably like 25.
Drinks?
food and drinks, let's clump it together. So food, what do you think? Do you think you need enough food? How much? Think about how many people you need to feed.
Are we doing pizza?
Okay.
What are we doing? What food are we doing?
Extra large.
Let's do pizza. Let's do
Yes.
pizza.
Okay, so
Then we would need 24 slices.
we would need 24 slices of pizza.
Exactly 24.
No.
So how many pizzas would you get?
Like 3. Like 2.
No.
Mason, hold on.
Less than 8.
Mason,
You need 2.
two? Two pizzas?
No, 5 extra large pizzas.
All right. Well, okay, hold on. Now this is where our estimating comes in. We have to first decide how many pieces are in one pizza, right?
8.
Okay, 8. So if there's 8 pieces in there,
Extra large.
we've got to estimate how many.
No.
Pieces each
You
person's
need
gonna eat.
extra, 2 extra larges.
So two XL pizzas.
Yeah.
So everyone can have like
Okay. So everybody could have a couple pieces, right? Now again, maybe your answer is different. Maybe you say we need 3 pizzas. Your choice, right? It's estimating.
Probably should like 2.
2 extra larges.
We'll skip over the drinks.
We could do like 4 liters. 4 liters. 4 liter? That's not no, like
Our next section, estimating a sum or a difference by rounding. Who remembers what a sum is?
Me?
Yes.
The plus sign.
Yeah, plus, adding.
Yes.
Difference, we'd need to subtract. Okay. So sum. Estimate the sum by rounding to the place value given. So now you got to think about place values. Do you remember your place values?
Yes. Wait.
Okay. This says, right here it says the thousands place. Thousands place. Which is the thousands place on the first number, the 8, 9, 5, or 4?
8.
Yeah. The 8 is our thousands place. So we're going to round to that place. So what do you do when you round? You look to the
Next one.
to the right. It's a 9.
So it's
So what happens to my 8?
9. Goes to a 9.
Turns into a 9 and everything else becomes zeros.
Plus.
Okay. So what number in my next number is my thousands place? The 4, 3, 8, or 5? The 4.
That'll be 400.
So I look next door.
4,000.
3 is less than 5. So what happens to my 4?
4.
It stays a 4. And everything else becomes zeros.
I forgot that.
Now, do you think you can do this one in your head? 9,000 plus 4,000.
13.
13, and then add your zeros on. 13,000.
He forgot to come.
Any questions on rounding?
Wait, rounding? That was rounding? I thought that was estimated.
Well, we estimated by rounding. I rounded the number. something that was compatible. I made 8,954 a compatible number, an easy to work with number of
Isn't there
9,000.
different ways of estimating? Like, isn't there just a random guess estimated one?
So let's move on to our
You sail
next.
every Wednesday night.
Mr. Elzinga sails every Wednesday night in the summer, and I actually sailed last night even too. One
Sail?
summer he
What's
spent
that mean?
5,687 minutes on the boat. The next summer he spent 7,459 minutes on the boat.
What?
Can we
Estimate
use calculator?
the number of minutes he spent on the boat to the thousands place.
Oh, that's easy.
So in both summers, how many minutes on the boat? What would you round the first number to? So we have our 5,686. Peyton says round it to 6,000.
It's 13,000.
I know, right?
Our next number, 7,459. Round it to 7,000. So 6,000 plus 7,000 is 13,000. And we forgot one thing. What do we need to put at the end? Minutes, because our units need to be there.
Yeah, I put min.
Min is fine, an abbreviation is fine.
Minutes.
How is it spelled weird?
All right.
What just happened? You just want make a blood. You want blood and you do that.
Difference. Difference, we said was subtraction again. This is our subtract.
This is.
Subtract. Estimate the difference by rounding to the place value given. So this is very similar to adding, but now we're going to do some subtracting. So rounding to the 10,000s place. Which one's the 10,000s in this one? The 6, 1, 8, 3, or 4?
6.
6. So we look to the right. It's a 1. So the 6 stays a 6. And in my next number, which one is my 10? Which one? So the next number is a 9. So it becomes a 5.
50,000.
50,000. So 60,000 minus 50,000 is
That's not a big difference.
10,000.
Sales peanuts at the baseball. Did you ask?
All right, now I am selling peanuts. I do not actually sell peanuts, but it sounded like a good example. I'm selling peanuts at a baseball game. Mr. Elzinga sells peanuts at the baseball game. One night, he sold 55,321 peanuts, and he started with 73,520 peanuts. How many peanuts does he have left at the end of the night? So, what place value would you round to? Would you round, this is where your estimating comes in. I didn't tell you where to round to, right? So we're going to estimate. I know you guys could do the straight subtraction, but we're going to estimate. So, Helena, what would you round the numbers to? What place value would you round them to? 10,000? Okay, so that's the 7 and the 5 here. Okay. So this one here would be, it'd become a 6. So we'd have 60,000. And this one here would be a 7, right?
70,000.
So 70,000. And we're going to take what I started with minus what I sold. So this is 70,000 is the start. The 60,000 is what I sold. How many peanuts about would I have left?
10,000.
About 10,000.
What?
Would anybody maybe round that differently? Could you have chose to round to the thousands place?
Maybe, yeah.
Right, and had
'Cause it was still
74,000 minus 55,000. A little harder subtraction problem,
Yeah.
Doing this.
right? You can write this as a second example. Yep. So 74,000 minus 55,000 gives me 19,000 peanuts.
I can't do that in my head that fast.
You can't.
Can I show them my pencil?
Forgot to put
Peanut.
peanuts here. All right. The next two things, product and quotient. You know, have you heard those words before? Product is the answer to multiplication. Quotient is the answer to
Division.
division. This is where calculators start to help, because multiplying and dividing, we can do it by hand, but calculators will make things a little faster for us. So Mr. Elzinga is planning a party for 8 different baseball teams. Each team has 18 members. So I want 1 plate per person. We'll assume that. So 8 different baseball teams. Each team has 8 teams, 18 people on each team. So let's estimate. I want at least 1 plate. So we can't underestimate, we have to overestimate. What would you round these numbers to?
10.
So the 8 we'd make 10, and the 18 we'd make 20. I bet you guys can do that multiplication in your head.
Times?
Yeah, it's times.
Ooh. Oh, I got
10 times 20.
200.
200, right? Okay. The multiplication, depending on what you round to, I made those really easy to use numbers, right? Multiplying by 10 is pretty easy. Another thing in 6th grade here, you're going to start to learn. For your whole life, you've used this as multiplication, right?
Yeah.
That's really a letter, isn't it?
It can be a dot.
So the new thing you're going to do for this year is, instead of an X, you're going to see a dot there.
Oh, no.
Okay? So we're going to shift your thinking and make the dot your multiplication.
It's going to be on tests.
Yep.
It kind of makes sense because if
Okay.
algebra multiplication ever happens, it's going to look like.
What does division look like then? Same?
Division will be the same. There's a couple different ways to write division, and I'll show you those in a little bit.
Okay.
All right, quotient. And we said that's division. Mr. Elzinga is going to the fair. He needs to drive 243 miles and drives at 65 miles per hour. How long would it take? So if you notice this word per here, that's like your division sign in words. So 65 miles in an hour. Okay.
Can we divide this?
So if I go 243 miles in 65 miles per hour, that's my division problem. That's hard to do. Yes, we could do it on a calculator. Let's round some of those. Think about the numbers here. What could you round 243 to? That would be easy to round something like 65 into.
200.
Okay, we could go all the way down to 200. And then what would you round 65 to?
70. No, 100.
Does 70 fit into 200 nicely?
No.
Probably give you a decimal answer. So I think we're going to round 243 to something a little different. So division's a little harder than multiplication to think about. 243. Let's think about this one. What if I make it 240? And instead of 65, I make it 60. Cover up the zeros you just wrote. 24 and 6. Do those divide easily?
Yeah.
How many times is 6 going to 24?
4.
4 times, and then put your 0 back on.
40.
Now, could I have done 270? Yes, I could have. This, though, made it a little more compatible, and in fact, probably a little closer because I kept my numbers closer to where they started. Was there something wrong with 270? Not necessarily. Okay? But try to get them so you don't have those decimal answers would be nice. Another one you could have done is you could have gone up to 280 or down to 210, and then the other one made it 70 because 7 fits into 21 and into 28 pretty evenly. Okay. All right. I think, so when you overestimate, what does overestimate mean?
You're way over it. You're estimating over stuff.
Okay, what do you mean by over?
Like a lot.
Like think about numbers. What do you mean by over when you say you're overestimating?
Like 10 over. Like,
So you're 10 more than, right? You'd be higher than, your number would be higher.
50.
Okay, maybe 10 higher, maybe 50 higher. Okay, what about underestimating? What do you think that one means?
You're way lower than the actual.
A lower number than what the actual would be. Okay, so we have higher and lower amounts. So when you look at this first example, suppose you were buying groceries, so you get to go grocery shopping now, and you have $50. That's all you have to spend. Would it be better to, as you're going through the aisles, overestimate the cost of each thing or underestimate the cost of each item? What do you think?
Under,
Under. Why would you underestimate?
so that you can have enough money to buy it.
So if I walked through and the cereal was $2.50, I would say, well, I'll just say that's $2. That's what you would do?
No, I think it's $3.
Oh, so that's overestimating.
Because you need tax.
Yeah, like
Because there's tax. So you're looking at it as my final number is going to be less than this, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the cost of each item individually.
Okay, then we over.
Then we'd over. Okay. So for example, if like $2.50,
Do you have to write that?
we'd want to make that up to $3, right? That'd be our overestimate. So really, this is just asking for the word here.
Just write over it.
You would want to write just overestimate here. Okay. All right, so now we're going on a trip. Okay, so we've gone shopping, we've got all the supplies we need, now we go on a trip, and we have a car. It usually gets either somewhere between 20 and 25 miles per gallon of gas. You guys ever heard that terminology, miles per gallon? Parents ever talk about that? You want to go on the trip that is 100 miles long trip. Would it be better to overestimate or underestimate the number of miles per gallon your car can travel? So in other words, would you pick the 20 or the 25? You. Okay? So we want to pick the one that's going to get us there, right? So if I said my car gets 25 miles to the gallon, so I put 4 gallons of gas in my car, right? 25, 50, 75, 100.
Yeah.
What if I only get 20? Am I going to get there?
No, you need to underestimate.
Yeah, so this one we want to underestimate. I'm going to underestimate so that we can get there. Because that 25 miles to the gallon, if we get it, great. But if we don't, we're not going to make it. Okay? The last thing here, I'm going to write these numbers in a little better on the bottom. We've got 0, 10,
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
20, 30, 40. It got a little blurry on the printout. And then you have Team 1, Team 2, Team 3, and Team 4. Those are just the labels there. So which team scored about the same number of points?
Team 2 and Team 4.
Team 2 and Team 4. They're pretty close to each other. They're not exact, but they're pretty close. So we'd say Team 2 and Team 4. How many points was that? How many points was that? About. Okay, I heard 35. Anybody else venture a guess?
35 and 37.
Okay, between 35 to 37.
38 and 40.
38 to 40. So again, these are estimates, each one of these. Okay, we're estimating. So are any of you wrong? No. Could you have been wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, what if you said 70 points? I would mark that one wrong, right? That's too far off. Okay? As long as you're pretty close. You want to try to be within, 3 to 5 numbers when you estimate.